If you're a hardcore BlackBerry fan and you really weren't pleased all that much with the offerings of the BlackBerry Z10, I think I've got the solution for you right here in my little hand right here. Hey there everyone, how are you doing? Joe Marin here for MobileCupOfJoe.com. And in this episode of Mobile Cup of Joe, I'm going to be reviewing the BlackBerry Q10 on Verizon Wireless. So unlike the Z10, the BlackBerry Q10 retains that very iconic physical QWERTY keyboard that was present on all BlackBerry devices back in the day. In terms of other specifications, you have a 3.1-inch 720p HD touchscreen, dual-core processors, 2 gigs of RAM, 8 megapixel rear-facing camera, 2 megapixel front-facing camera, and more. So is this the BlackBerry device for Crackberry fans to get? Let's find out right now in my full review. But guys, before we go any further, please go ahead and grab that coffee cup, fill it up, bring it over, and sit on down. Take a swig for a Mobile Cup of Joe.
Alright, before we get too far in this video review, as always, I'd like to give a really big thank you and shout out to our friends and pals over at Verizon Wireless for hooking us up with the BlackBerry Q10 right here and other really awesome Verizon products. Guys, it really is because of companies like Verizon that do make Mobile Cup of Joe possible, because they send us products like the BlackBerry Q10 to unbox and review for you guys, our fans, and they allow us to do all these really great videos. So big thanks to Verizon for hooking us up with the BlackBerry Q10, and you know what, let's go ahead and get started with this video review. So as with all of our reviews, we start out by talking about some design and build quality aspects of the phones and products we review. So BlackBerry Q10 measures in at at a 2.63 by 4.71 by 0.41 inches, and it does weigh in at 4.90 ounces. So, you know, it is a very trim and very slim, a very compact design you got right here going on in the Q10. On the very front, right on the very top, above the screen, you have your BlackBerry logo with the notification light, along with your 2 megapixel front-facing camera. And then below that, you do have your 3.1-inch screen right here. It's a 720p HD display. And you have your iconic BlackBerry physical QWERTY keyboard right there, which is very great. This keyboard is very, very nicely made. It's extremely great to type on, very accurate, and you're really not going to want to go back to a virtual QWERTY keyboard after you do use this. Now, if we go on to the back of the phone, we have our 8 megapixel rear-facing camera with LED flash, nice little kind of plastic silver lining right there. BlackBerry logo, Verizon logo, 4G LTE logo, and there is this kind of a funky design on here, which I'm not a big fan of. Not sure if you can see it due to the lighting, which I do apologize for that. We're having a bit of lighting issues, so I do apologize for the quality not being as great as it usually is. But I'm not a big fan of the texture they put on here. Makes the device look really, really old. Honestly, makes the phone kind of look like it was made out of 2011. Really not a fan of the design here on the Q10. But moving on to the tour of the device, if we go to the right-hand side, we do have our volume rocker, and in the middle of the volume rocker, we have our dedicated button right here to use our voice assistant. On the left-hand side, we've got our mini HDMI port, along with our micro USB syncing/charging port. Going up top, we've got our 3.5mm headphone jack, our power/lock button, and a couple noise-canceling microphone pinholes. And if we go to the bottom, we have another microphone pinhole, along with a speaker grill, which actually pumps out some really nice sounding audio. So overall, you know, it's a nice setup. It's very easy to use, get all of your functions out of it. Keyboard feels great, but I just really do not like the design here on the Q10. Now let's move into some hardware of this device right here. So as I mentioned before, the screen is a 3.1-inch screen, 720p HD display. The actual pixel resolution is in fact 720 by 720 with 328 pixels per inch. And as you can see right there, the screen does look really great. Now, while this isn't a 1080p Full HD resolution, 720p HD crammed into this very small 3.1-inch display is giving you a much higher pixel density. So with that 328 pixels per inch, you're going to get some really, really nice colors. You're going to get razor sharp text. And overall, I was actually really surprised with how nice this screen looks here on the Q10. Now, in terms of processing speeds, you've got a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro processor, along with 2 gigs of RAM. So we're going to go ahead and load up Beach Buggy Blitz just to show you how games run on here. Now, because of the screen form factor, usually on smartphones, the screen is a 16:9 aspect ratio, but since you do not have the aspect ratio here on the Q10, since the screen is only on half of the device, the games do look a little stretched out, as you're going to see here with Beach Buggy Blitz. But overall, I was actually impressed with the gaming results I got here out of the Q10. So let's go ahead and load up Beach Buggy Blitz. Looks like we got touch controls. So you can see that it actually runs pretty great. No, I was expecting some really poor gaming results here, considering this is more of a productivity phone, not really a phone meant for games and entertainment and content consumption. But you can see while it does look a little odd in the aspect ratio, since it's not a normal 16:9, still runs pretty great. I'm just playing really poorly because I just generally suck at this game, and because I'm looking at it from a very odd angle. But, you know, you can see it's running really smooth. You got nice colors on there again, thanks to the high pixel density. And I was actually kind of surprised, like I said, with how well games ran on here. Now, I wouldn't use this device as my main phone to play games like Beach Buggy Blitz on, but, you know, you're in a meeting, you're waiting to get in a meeting, pop a little game of Beach Buggy Blitz. It does run pretty great on here and much better than I was expecting it to. Now, in terms of your cameras, you've got, like I said, an 8-megapixel camera on the back, along with a 2-megapixel shooter up top. Now, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find some quick little samples to show you. Not exactly sure what pictures I took with this, but here's a picture of a table in my backyard that I took. Again, not sure how the lighting's going to look with our current lighting situation, but it's actually quite detailed considering this is an 8-megapixel sensor. And again, since this isn't really a phone for media use, and it's more of a productivity phone, colors and everything still look pretty good. Nice little bird bath there with some red and green and white looking pretty good. Let's see. There's a little photo of... Where'd that go? That's me. There's a frog right there. A nice little frog right there. Good detail on him. And let's see. We've also got this picture of my cat. Again, I edited this one a bit using the photo editor here on the Q10. But, you know, image quality was actually looked really good. You know, it's not going to blow you away. It's not going to be breathtaking photo and video quality. But it still looks pretty good in general. Now, in terms of your battery, you got a 2100 milliamp hour removable battery here on the Q10, and I'm going to show you how to remove it because this did kind of slip me up a couple times. To take off the back plate to get access to your battery, you have to push down on it and push back. So put your two thumbs here and kind of push and slide down from the top to get it off. Just want to point that out because you can't just pry it off. You do have to slide it down like that. But here is your battery, as you can see right there, along with your SIM card, and you also have access to your micro SD card slot right there. So overall, I was actually pretty impressed with the battery results I got here on the BlackBerry Q10. With heavy texting, so here's just a quick example to show you how it ran for me. Turned the phone on about 6:30 a.m. in the morning. I used the phone with heavy texting, moderate web browsing, moderate music streaming, and moderate application usage. And about 10:30 p.m. at night, I still had 23% battery life remaining, which I thought was pretty impressive for this phone right here. Battery life was much better than I was expecting it to be. I was 23% at the end of the day at 10:30 from being on at 6:30 with a pretty good day of usage. I was actually pretty pleased with that and thought that was some really good results right there. So if you're looking at a phone, you know, this thing's going to be definitely going to get you through a full days of use. Probably not be able to squeeze 2 full days, but you should get 1 day of full use very easy here out of the Q10. Now, the BlackBerry Q10 is available on multiple carriers here in the United States. As mentioned before, we have the model on Verizon Wireless. You know, call quality is great, data speeds are great, but there is some issues I had with the Q10, and I'm not really sure if it's specific to the Verizon Wireless model or if it's just due to the one I had, but here's my story. So when I first got the BlackBerry Q10 into review, I had it for about a week or so, and then it would just completely, one day, it decided that, you know what, I'm going to completely screw up the review process for Joe, from Mobile Cup of Joe, and just restart myself. So one day, it actually restarted itself about 12 times in a single day. I would be listening to a podcast or texting, and it would just completely shut off and restart. And while I was in the restarting process trying to get itself back on, it would shut off again, try to restart, shut itself back off, and try to restart again over and over and over and over. So I contacted my PR up at Verizon. I said, hey man, phone, I think it's defective. It's not working good. It keeps restarting on me. So they said, you know what? You probably have a lemon. Send it back. We'll ship you out a new one. We got a new one, which is really awesome of Verizon. Thumbs up for that. Really helpful. But I got this model in right here. This is my second review unit of the Q10. And this one is still functioning. But after about 4 days of having it, it started to restart itself again. Not nearly as many times as the last one. I was still able to use it. It only restarted itself about 3 times through a course of about 2 or 3 days, but still restarting itself. Now, I am led to believe this is something to do with the Q10. Again, not sure if it's Verizon specific. When I first had the original model, I thought that maybe this is just a defective one, but since it happened to me with 2 separate reviewing units, I am led to believe that there's something going on here with the Q10 on Verizon. I tried to look online. I hadn't seen any complaints about it. So if you've had any issues with the BlackBerry Q10 on Verizon or not on Verizon with restarting like that, please let us know in the comments below, because I really do want to see if anyone else has had these issues. But now let's get into some software of the BlackBerry Q10. So the Q10 is obviously running BlackBerry 10, BlackBerry's latest mobile operating system. Their OS that they say we're going to take down iOS and Android and Windows Phone 8 with. And is it going to do that? Well, probably not. So here's your home screen. We talked about BlackBerry 10 operating system pretty in depth with my review of the BlackBerry Z10. I'll put a link in the description below to check out that review. But here's your home screen. On the Q10, you have an app grid of 4x3 with all your applications, kind of like iOS, no widgets or anything. Nice little effects here when you slide through. Very smooth, very silky. And if you swipe all the way to the right, you have access to your BlackBerry Hub. From the BlackBerry Hub, this is where all your texts, missed calls, Facebook notifications, Twitter notifications, etc. are going to be. So if you just go to the general BlackBerry Hub, all and every single notification from your text, call, email, whatever is going to show up here. But if you want to narrow it down to, say I want to narrow it down to my texts, I can do that, and I'll just see my text messages. If I go to my Facebook, I will just see Facebook updates. And same thing goes if I go to Twitter, I will see only Twitter updates. So I really do love this aspect of BlackBerry 10. I love having this kind of main control center right here to see what's going on in your world. It's very sleek. You can access this anytime. So say that you're in an application like your calendar and you want to check your BlackBerry Hub, simply swipe up and go to the right and you'll be in the hub. Really awesome feature here. One of my favorite features actually with BlackBerry 10. Now there is a really little customization here on BlackBerry 10. This is one of my biggest issues because I am a total geek when it comes to phone customization. The only real things you can do is change your icons around and change the wallpaper. You know what? That's about it. One thing I do like about BlackBerry 10, this is present on the Z10 as well, is that if your phone's locked, the screen's turned off, but it's still powered on, and you want to turn it on, just simply slide your finger up from the bottom of the screen, and you can see that it will unlock. So I'll show you that again. Powered off, just take your finger and slide up, and you will unlock your device. Normally with iOS, Android, Windows Phone, you got to hit the power button to wake up the screen, then unlock it. But I really did find it cool to be able to just swipe up my finger and unlock the screen like so. I'm reviewing the Nokia Lumia 928 right now, actually, and I'll sometimes take it and just kind of swipe up and try to unlock it. But you know what? It's a Windows phone, so you can't really do that. It's only on BlackBerry 10, so I did find that feature really cool. BlackBerry doesn't really talk that feature up a whole lot, but it is pretty useful, just normal day-to-day use. Now, one of probably my real biggest issue, customization, the lack of customization is bad. But the big issue that's really hampering the experience of BlackBerry 10 is BlackBerry World. BlackBerry World is BlackBerry's little store that they use so you can purchase games, apps, music, video, etc. All your content right there. Unfortunately, the content there sucks. While you do have your main applications, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, AccuWeather, etc., there's no official applications. There's really no applications at all for, iHeartRadio, Netflix, Instagram, Google+, YouTube, no official apps for that, and it really is pretty bad. There's some third-party apps for like YouTube and all that, but there's no application at all for Instagram. There's no application at all for Netflix. The content offering sucks. Just to give you an idea for how bad it is, let's go ahead and go to the top free applications. And you can see that when we go to the top free, we scroll down, we have WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook. But one of the top applications here, as you can see right there, is a flashlight for your phone. That's bad. If one of the best free applications for your device is a flashlight, you know you got something going on. This is really bad. Content offering just sucks. The BlackBerry world, the analogy, it's not an analogy, whatever, analogy, simile, metaphor, whatever, but the BlackBerry world does make Microsoft's Windows Store for Windows Phone 8 look like it has a content offering of Apple's App Store when you compare the two together. You know what? I'm reviewing a BlackBerry 10 device right now along with a Windows Phone 8 device. I look at the content offerings on BlackBerry 10 and the content offerings on the Windows Store for a Windows Phone 8. And you know what? Windows Phone 8, for their content offering applications, have really brought themselves up. Then you look at BlackBerry 10, granted it is a new OS. It's the newer OS of all the major mobile operating systems out there, but it's just lacking so bad. BlackBerry needs to get a ton more developer support for their software and content offerings for the BlackBerry world if they really do want to be taken seriously in the smartphone market. That's the biggest issue I'm seeing with BlackBerry 10. I love how it operates. I love how the multitasking and features work. I love BlackBerry Hub, but I would not personally be comfortable signing into your contract for a BlackBerry 10 device simply because of the poor content offering in the BlackBerry world. Now, with all that said, I actually gave the BlackBerry 10, you might find it surprising, an 8 out of 10. You know what? You've got a lot of pros here on this device. You have an incredible physical QWERTY keyboard, great looking screen, processing speeds and camera both perform pretty good, really long lasting battery, and I do love how BlackBerry 10 is so great for multitasking and productivity. However, I did dock at a couple points because, I really did not like the design on this thing, the issues I had with the phone randomly restarting, and the issue in the lack of applications here on the BlackBerry world for BlackBerry 10. If you are a hardcore BlackBerry fan, you weren't impressed with the BlackBerry Z10 because you missed out on that physical QWERTY keyboard, definitely give the BlackBerry Q10 a check and make sure you definitely check it out. I think, hardcore BlackBerry fans, while this may not be a perfect phone, this is probably the closest phone that's out there that you've been waiting for BlackBerry to release. Really strong phone here from BlackBerry. They know who their target audience is. They know that this is for the business person, the hardcore crackberry. This is a good phone if you are in the market for a BlackBerry phone. You know what you want out of a phone. You are aware that the content offering is just not there, but you want a phone for productivity, and you just want a freaking BlackBerry phone back with the great BlackBerry QWERTY keyboard. I think you're going to be really pleased with this device right here. And with all that said, that is my full review of the BlackBerry Q10. Please feel free to leave your thoughts about the device in the comments below. And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Mobile Cup of Joe. Guys, if you liked the video, please go ahead and hit that like button if you liked it. It takes 1 second to do so, and it really does help support the show. And if you want to show your support towards the show even more, I would really appreciate it if you go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more Mobile Cup of Joe videos. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Mobile Cup of Joe, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and make sure to head on over to our website at www.mobilecupofjoe.com for the latest in technology news, reviews, giveaways, and more. I'm Joe Martin from mobilecupofjoe.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.